So it's been just a week since the deadly terror attack took place in Pahalgam, but with each passing day, it's looking more and more likely that India will be launching a military strike against Pakistan for its role in sponsoring the Pahalgam attacks. Now, Pakistan has made it clear that it will respond to India in kind. What we've seen as tensions rise is India and Pakistan working overtime to assemble a diplomatic coalition behind them. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar have spoken to most of the world's most powerful leaders as India prepares diplomatic and military action against Pakistan. Islamabad is also speaking to its circle of friends and allies. I'm talking about countries like China, Turkey, and Egypt. On this episode of Threadbare, we look at the diplomatic coalitions that India and Pakistan have assembled behind them. Who has been more successful? And just how crucial will this be in the days to come? So the diplomatic race to win international opinion is on. Both India and Pakistan know one thing. When it comes to terrorism and Kashmir, international opinion does matter. Major powers like America, Russia, and China have played a massive role in almost every major India-Pakistan conflict, whether you're thinking about the 1947 India-Pakistan war or the 1999 Kargil conflict. In all of these cases, both India and Pakistan needed weapons, material aid, as well as diplomatic support from major global powers. Now, the global situation has changed a lot in the last couple of decades, but at the same time, international public opinion does matter. Now, both India and Pakistan want public opinion on their side for different reasons. India wants the world to recognize that Pakistan has been sponsoring terrorism against India. It also wants the world's most powerful countries to provide it the diplomatic support that it needs while it prepares a military retaliation against Pakistan. Pakistan has similar motivations. Basically, it wants the countries of the world to recognize that Pakistan isn't sponsoring terrorism, and it also wants the world to think that India is being extremely unreasonable in its policy. So that explains the battle that we're seeing right now for international public opinion around the world. Both India and Pakistan have been calling the world's most crucial nations, Russia, America, the powerful Gulf states, and China, to brief them on their view of the Pahalgam attacks. Now, the vast majority of countries have so far opted to not take a stand on the issue. The Gulf states, Iran and Russia, for example, have basically called for stability and for India and Pakistan to sort out the matter between them and to also not escalate tensions. Iran has actually even offered to negotiate between India and Pakistan and reduce tensions. Now, there's also the question of America, which has a slightly complicated stand. Once the Pahalgam attacks happened, Donald Trump's administration came out and made a strong show of support with India. The Trump administration said it stood with India, and also Prime Minister Modi and President Donald Trump had a phone call where Donald Trump again expressed solidarity with India. However, as tensions have risen, America's position has changed somewhat. In fact, now the American position seems to be that New Delhi and Islamabad need to sort out tensions on their own. America does not want to get involved. So at this time, only a few countries have explicitly aligned themselves with one country or the other. Israel, for example, has condemned Pakistan, and it's also endorsed India's right to retaliate after the attacks in Pahalgam. On the other side, Pakistan has lined up some support as well. Turkey and China haven't totally lined up behind Pakistan, but they have expressed strong support. Turkey's President Erdogan has once again reiterated his country's support for Pakistan on the Kashmir issue, and China has also supported Pakistan's call for an independent inquiry into the Pahalgam attacks. It has also stressed its all-weather friendship with Pakistan. So that's what the battle lines are at this moment. It's important to note too that there's really one thing that unites all global countries at this point in time. At a time when two major wars are raging in Ukraine and in Gaza, no one wants to see India and Pakistan, two nuclear powers, come to blows. So with that said, what exactly does India need to do to win the diplomatic confrontation that it has with Pakistan that it's going to have to fight over the next couple of weeks? Firstly, it needs to provide slightly more evidence to the world that the Resistance Front, the group which claimed responsibility for the Pahalgam attacks, is in fact a front group for the Lashkar-e-Taiba. So why exactly do I say that? Well, firstly, you might remember that India briefed a number of foreign diplomats about its position on the Pahalgam attack and why it blames Pakistan specifically. Audiences at home are totally convinced that Pakistan is behind the attack, but world opinion is not totally convinced yet. Global headlines like this indicate that India will still have to provide more evidence linking the resistance front to Pakistani intelligence services. And to be fair, India does seem to have technical intelligence linking the attacks in Pahalgam to Pakistan's intelligence agencies. India does also have the advantage here since much of the world does not need too much convincing. Most countries in the world are aware that Pakistan has a record of sponsoring terrorism. So to win the war of global opinion, India will simply have to show its cards a little bit more. The second thing India needs to do is ensure that the Pahalgam attacks don't lead to major domestic divisions. Remember that after the Pahalgam attacks occurred, social media saw an outpouring of divisive religious statements, many of them aimed at India's Muslims. Reports of Kashmiri students being attacked across the country have also made headlines internationally. Not only is this a moral outrage, it's also terrible news for India's image abroad. Because Pakistan has always sought to spotlight the issue of Kashmir or the issue of India's Muslims and pointed to reports of atrocities that Kashmiris and Muslims in India seem to face, especially over the last 10 years. We have to recognize one reality, that it's a global narrative that has gained some purchase in the international media. Winning the war of global opinion means showing the world that India is a very, very different place from Pakistan. That we are a country that stands by our diverse and inclusive past where people of every religion have a place. It's one of India's most vital assets on the world stage, and losing it after the Pahalgam attacks to religious hatred and vitriol will be a serious tragedy for Indian foreign policy. And this will also actively hurt India as it tries to win the battle for international opinion against Pakistan. As of this moment, both India and Pakistan are waging that global diplomatic battle, even as military forces prepare for a confrontation. It's a battle that India can definitely win, both diplomatically and militarily. But for that, the Modi government will have to play its cards just right. Thanks for watching Threadbare with me, Shashank Mattoo.